Evacuate now!
There's a town in America where the government evacuated everyone and still won't say why. The roads were sealed, the homes were left behind, and the weirdest part? It's still called Helltown on the map. America loves a good small town story. Porch swings, county fairs, that one local cop who knows your dog's name. But there's another side of the map, where the streetlights flicker even when there's no power. And if you ask the locals about the screaming in the woods, they'll just say, don't ask. These aren't haunted houses with Groupon tickets. These are real towns, forgotten, buried, or simply left to rot. Some are toxic, some are cursed. A few, still waiting for their final resident to leave. We're counting down 18 of the creepiest small towns in the US. The one with a working library, but no one left to check out the books. Think you know creepy towns? Okay, but do you know the one that changed states without moving an inch? Or the desert town where the air makes people vanish? And trust me, you're not ready for what's next. Hit subscribe, not for me, for you, because the next time you take a wrong turn on a back road, you'll want to know which towns not to stop in. Let's break it down. Number 18, Dudleytown, Connecticut. There's a town in Connecticut where the population dropped to 0, and somehow the fear stuck around. No power, no residents, no welcome sign, just trees that grew back faster than the people ever could. Dudleytown started like every colonial dream. Log homes, farmland, last names carved into stone. Tucked in a valley locals now call Dark Entry Forest, which is already doing a lot of foreshadowing. At its peak in the 1740s, a few dozen families lived here. Normal, quiet, hopeful. But then the tragedies stacked up. Crops failed, disease hit, people went blind, insane, or vanished. One resident reportedly wandered into the woods and never came back. Another died screaming after a fall. Coincidence? Maybe, but the town emptied anyway, fast. Historians point to bad soil and isolation. Locals point to a curse tied to the Dudley family's bad luck back in England. What nobody tells you is how many later attempts to resettle also collapsed. Even skeptics bailed. Population, 0 since the mid-1800s. Access, officially closed, trespassing enforced. Property ownership, private land trust, no development allowed. Emergency calls, spikes from hikers reporting panic, disorientation. Tourism, 0 amenities, 0 revenue. Plenty of warnings. A Reddit hiker put it best. Nothing happened. That's the problem. I've never wanted to leave a place faster. Here's the irony. Dudleytown isn't dangerous because something happens. It's dangerous because nothing does. No birds, no wind, just your own thoughts getting louder. Great spot if you enjoy hiking, paranoia, and realizing your flashlight batteries are at 3%. Also, Connecticut forests. Why are they always judging you? Every branch snap feels personal. And the trails? Maintained is doing a lot of work there. You're either ankle deep in mud or tripping over a 300-year-old stone wall like colonial parkour. Pick a struggle. Damp leaves underfoot, air dead still, your phone loses signal, and suddenly you're very aware of your own breathing. Loud. Too loud. And if you think an empty town is unsettling, wait until you meet one where people are still there, but the sun disappears for months. Number 17, Skagway, Alaska. Welcome to a town where the population triples in the summer. And then winter comes, and things get weird. Skagway, Alaska, a historic gold rush town clinging to the edge of civilization like a splinter in the coastline. Come summer, it's cruise ships, vintage railways, and more tourists than actual residents. But by late October, the boats leave, the shops shutter, the sun vanishes for weeks at a time, and what's left behind? Silence, darkness, and a creeping sense that you're being watched. You'd think the scariest part of Skagway is the history. Con men, unsolved murders, back alley duels, but no, it's the present-day locals who say, winter here does something to your mind. Sleep patterns crash, dreams get strange, and cabin fever isn't a joke. It's literally tracked in public health data. Population, approximately 850, but shrinks by over 60% in winter. Daylight drops to 3 to 4 hours a day midwinter. Job market, seasonal, mostly tourism-based. Mental health support, minimal in off-season. Average rent, $1,000 to $1,300, but hard to find year-round housing. Crime rate, low, but locals report increased paranoia events in winter months. It's one of the safest towns in America, as long as you don't count losing your grip on reality as a crime. Skagway feels normal if you only visit when it's sunny, but stick around for winter and time gets soft. Your body forgets how to wake up, your thoughts loop. Even longtime residents say they keep all the lights on, not for visibility, tranquility, but for company, mental fatigue, isolation, existential dread at 2:47 p.m. because that's when the sun sets in December. It's not haunted in the Hollywood sense, but it's a psychological trap. Also, let's talk weather. Skagway doesn't just get cold, it gets wet cold. Like, I wore 3 layers and my soul still shivered kind of cold. And the wind? It doesn't blow through you, it negotiates ownership of your skeleton. Try walking to the post office and not questioning your life choices halfway there. Imagine waking up at 10 a.m. to pitch darkness, stepping outside into freezing wind, and realizing the only sound is snow hitting snow. Your breath feels too loud. Now imagine doing that every day for 70 days straight. Be honest, could you survive 60 plus days with no sun? Or would your shower start hearing your secrets? Number 16, Mineral Wells, Texas. There's a haunted hotel in Texas so cursed, even the ghosts quit working the night shift. Welcome to Mineral Wells, where your anxiety might be natural, but your water isn't. Once the jewel of Texas spa towns, Mineral Wells boomed in the early 1900s thanks to its famous healing water. People traveled for miles to drink it, soak in it, or bottle it up and ship it to grandma. It was the wellness influencer of the 20th century. If TikTok had been around, this place would have been hashtag sponsored by ghosts and minerals. But now, it's more ghost town than getaway. The crown jewel? The Baker Hotel. An abandoned 14-story relic that once hosted celebrities, oil barons, and apparently, something that still hasn't checked out. Population? Approximately 14,800. Median home price? Approximately $175,000. Cheap, but you might inherit a ghost roommate. Crime rate? 49% higher than national average. Unemployment rate? 6.2%. Annual tourism revenue? Mostly seasonal. Spikes around haunted tour season. You know it's bad when your town's main economic driver is paranormal discomfort. Living in Mineral Wells comes with a vibe. Some call it charmingly eerie. Others say spiritually off. Residents report sleep paralysis, cold spots, and electronics dying without explanation. Paranormal teams? They show up with gear. Locals? They just leave the lights on. Let's talk about the downtown. Half restored, half rotting like a metaphor. The crosswalk buttons don't work, but that's fine. The ghosts don't drive. And try getting a real coffee after 3 p.m. Either it's closed, or the barista is busy sage cleansing the espresso machine. Honestly, your best bet is a Whataburger and a rosary. Picture walking through the empty lobby of the Baker at dusk. Paint peeling, air thick with mildew, and maybe regret. You pass a dusty mirror and swear you see someone. Not you. Blink. Oh, by the way, the mineral water? Still available. Still smells like old pennies. Still legally drinkable, but emotionally concerning. Hey, remember when I said some towns are waiting? Mineral Wells isn't waiting. It's pacing. Upstairs. Quietly. And if you think haunted hotels are scary, wait till we get to a town that lost all its people, but not its zip code. Hold tight. It gets darker. Number 15. Cairo, Illinois. Cairo, Illinois should have been rich. 2 rivers, prime trade routes, a literal geographic cheat code. Instead, it's one of the quietest collapses in America, and the silence is doing most of the talking. Stand on the levee where the Ohio and Mississippi rivers meet. Barges glide by. Water everywhere. Opportunity everywhere. Now, turn around. Boarded storefronts. Cracked sidewalks. A downtown that looks paused mid-sentence. Cairo isn't creepy because it's old. It's creepy because it was supposed to win. Here's the part nobody sugarcoats anymore. Population, approximately 1,700, down from 15,000 in the 1920s. Vacancy rate, over 70% of buildings abandoned. Median home price, approximately $55,000, and still not moving. Poverty rate, approximately 45%, nearly 4 times the national average. Unemployment, consistently double Illinois' average. One local posted on Reddit, "It's not dangerous, it's just empty. That's worse. When houses cost less than a used Honda and still can't find buyers, that's not a market, that's a warning label." Cairo didn't just decline, it was managed into a corner. Decades of redlining, federal disinvestment, and state-level neglect turned a strategic city into a budget line nobody wanted. When jobs left, help didn't arrive. When help arrived, it came with paperwork and deadlines, not solutions. This isn't a ghost story, it's policy with a long memory. Living here means cheap rent and expensive patience. Services are limited, grocery options are thin, schools struggle, and opportunity? You commute for it, or you leave. From a delivery driver's POV, nightmare. Half the addresses don't exist anymore. Google Maps lies, and every other street dead ends into used to be something. You're not lost. The town just moved on without telling the roads. Imagine waking up to river fog rolling past your window. Quiet, no traffic, no rush, just birds and water. Now imagine needing a job, a doctor, or a decent grocery store, and realizing the closest option is an hour away. That calm starts to feel heavy. In Naperville, Illinois, the biggest fear is rising property taxes. In Cairo, it's whether the town itself will still exist in 10 years. Number 14, Centralia, Pennsylvania. There's a town in Pennsylvania that's been on fire for over 60 years, and nobody's put it out. The streets crack open, smoke pours from the ground, and somehow, it still has a zip code. Welcome to Centralia, where the only thing hotter than the underground coal fire is the federal government's ability to ignore it. Let's rewind to 1962. Centralia is your average working-class coal town. Churches, diners, Little League. One of those places where everybody knows everybody, and everyone's grandpa was a miner. Normal, until the town literally caught fire from below. A coal seam beneath the town ignited in an old mining pit. And here's the best part, nobody noticed for weeks. Because when the sidewalk gets slightly warm in Pennsylvania, you just go, it's probably the devil or something, and carry on. So what actually happened? Short version, the town tried to burn trash in an old mining trench. That trench connected to the vast, very flammable network of coal veins beneath the town. The fire spread, then spread more, then spread more, and by the time they realized it was unstoppable, it was already under their feet. And the government? Oh, they handled it beautifully. In 1984, Congress allocated $42 million to relocate residents. Eminent domain kicked in, but a few refused to leave. By 1992, the entire town was condemned. Today, population 5. All stubborn, all still living on top of a literal fire pit. Population 2023, 5. Estimated fire spread, 400 plus acres underground. Expected duration, could burn for another 250 years. Average home price, $0, because there are no homes. Crime rate, 0%. It's hard to rob someone when there's no one left. Annual tourism revenue, modest, mostly from urban explorers and weirdos with GoPros. Great town if you're into post-apocalyptic vibes, sulfur-scented breezes, and having zero neighbors to complain about your lawn. Most residents left. The homes were bulldozed. The highway was rerouted. Streets were closed off. But the fire? Still there. Still burning. Still popping up like a game of hellish whack-a-mole. Here's the weird part. It's illegal to live there now. Technically. But the last holdouts refused to leave. They sued the state, and won. So now they have life estates, meaning they can stay until they die. After which the land reverts to the state. Because nothing says freedom like permission to die on your own smoldering lawn. Okay, serious question. How do you lose a town to fire and then just not put up a fence? You've got sinkholes, venting gas, and literal steam rising from the asphalt, and people still treat it like a hiking spot? There are YouTubers doing backflips off cracked pavement like it's a skate park built by Satan. Someone tagged Slenderman was here on a mailbox. No bro, Slenderman left. This place is too much even for him. Picture this. You step out of your house, and the road is smoking like it just finished a workout. It smells like burnt pennies and bad decisions. Your dog won't go past the driveway because even he knows the earth should not hiss. It's not an emergency, it's a slow-moving inconvenience. Bro, inconvenience? The ground was literally melting. In some towns, potholes take weeks to fix. In Centralia, the road disappeared, and they just deleted it from Google Maps. Remember when Mineral Wells just had haunted hotel problems? Centralia said, "Hold my cursed coal seam." Number 13. Elkhorn, Wisconsin. You ever hear about a place where a werewolf is considered local wildlife? Welcome to Elkhorn, Wisconsin, where the people are friendly, the beer is cold, and something with red eyes might be watching you from the tree line. Nestled in Walworth County, Elkhorn looks like it belongs in a Hallmark Christmas movie. Farmhouses, cornfields, folks who wave when they drive past. There's a downtown square with antique shops and actual parades. It's the kind of place where nothing bad ever happens, until it gets dark. Because just outside town, along the winding stretch of Bray Road, there's a local legend that's been stalking headlines and people for decades. The Beast of Bray Road. No, seriously, that's what it's called. Since the late 1930s, reports have poured in about a 7-foot-tall, bipedal dog-like creature. Glowing eyes, clawed hands, runs like a wolf. Looks like it shops at Hot Topic. What started as hushed whispers turned into police reports, newspaper articles, and even books. In the 80s and 90s, sightings spiked again. Some say it's a werewolf. Others call it a cryptid. And the town kinda leans into it now. But here's the part that gets me. None of the reports were tourists. They were locals. As in, hey, I've lived here for 40 years and something just chased my car. Population, approximately 10,500. Median home price, approximately $260,000. Unemployment rate, 3.4%, lower than national average. Violent crime rate, low, but maybe because werewolf attacks aren't tracked. Tourism pull, up during cryptid season. Yes, that's real. Official stance on the beast. Local government says no comment, but held a town hall about it in 2004. If your town's emergency meeting is about a bipedal wolf with glowing eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's above your local sheriff's pay grade. So, what happens when your town's most famous resident might be a cryptid? You get that odd mix of cozy and creepy. The beast hasn't hurt anyone, yet, but its legend lurks. Teenagers dare each other to drive Bray Road after midnight. Farmers carry flashlights out to the barn, and no one pulls over with engine trouble on that stretch of road. You know what I love about Wisconsin? You'll find someone with an AR-15 in the truck next to a werewolf bumper sticker. Like, yeah, I believe in cryptids, and I vote. Also, can we talk about the weather? You'll freeze your face off 9 months a year, but God forbid the wind also howls and suddenly every noise becomes a cryptid audition tape. Remember when Centralia had fire under the ground? Elkhorn has something worse, a legend that walks. Number 12, Ajo, Arizona. There's a town in Arizona where the mine collapsed, and the air never recovered. Welcome to Ajo, where the desert's gorgeous, the sky's endless, and locals say the land itself remembers everything. On the surface, Ajo is artsy, warm, and way too photogenic for what's actually going on. Adobe architecture? Gorgeous. Spanish colonial plaza? Instagram-worthy. Desert sunsets? Chef's kiss. But then you talk to the people who live there, and the word that comes up isn't beautiful. It's haunted. By industry, by history, and, according to some, by things that don't like being watched. Let's start with the mine. Ajo was built on copper, literally. The New Cornelia mine fueled the town for most of the 20th century, until it shut down in the 1980s and left behind a massive crater and a long, slow economic collapse. Also left behind? Reports of strange vibrations, unexplained animal behavior, air so thick with sulfur it's been studied by environmental scientists. Population, approximately 3,100. Median household income, $36,000. Way below national average. Unemployment rate, approximately 7.8%. Median rent, approximately $680 per month. Crime rate, low, but locals blame what's out there for other disappearances. A town with low crime, low rent, and high ghost density. So basically, Arizona's answer to Silent Hill, but with better burritos. Ajo's cheap, peaceful, quiet, too quiet. There's a stillness here that makes your thoughts louder. People report hallucinations, migraines, sudden disorientation. One artist swore his house hummed at night, even when the power was out. Some call it desert madness. Others think it's something else. The Tohono O'odham Nation, whose ancestral land surrounds Ajo, say the desert here is a thin place, a boundary between the physical and the spiritual. Not evil, but alert. Okay, quick rant. Why is every single street in Ajo either boiling hot, unmarked, or inexplicably full of tumbleweeds that seem personally angry? You haven't lived until a dust devil tries to snatch your sunglasses while you're just trying to find the post office that Google Maps swears is right next to the giant hole in the ground. Thanks, helpful. Imagine this. You're standing at the rim of an open pit mine the size of a sports stadium. It's dead silent. No wind, no birds, just heat shimmer and a low, almost imperceptible buzz under your feet. You go to speak and stop, because